Hello my friends, welcome back to the kitchen at Thuya Hill. Today we're going to be discussing 3 spring menu ideas. And the first is roast chicken thighs, baked potatoes, and sauteed peas. Now I am going to have you follow along with me as I make the recipe. I won't give you every single detail, but you can watch as I go. What I first do is I score my russet potatoes with a fork. This is so they'll cook faster. Now I go ahead and generously season with a good olive oil. And then these can go right in the oven. Now these potatoes will bake for approximately 45 minutes at 350. And after these are in the oven, I go ahead and get started on my chicken. Now this couldn't be any easier. Today I am using frozen chicken thighs, and these can go directly in the oven after being seasoned well. I use generous amounts of salt and pepper, olive oil, dried parsley, dried garlic, and at the end I add a little bit of butter on top just to give these chicken thighs some extra flavor. Now these will go in the oven for approximately 45 minutes at 350, and when they come out they are juicy and delicious and ready to be enjoyed. While the chicken and the potatoes are cooking, it's time to get on with our peas. So I go ahead and saute my peas on the stove with salt and pepper, butter, and lots of garlic powder. Really, this recipe is so easy. I'm using frozen chicken thighs and frozen peas. This is a great spring menu when you're short on time, but you don't want to compromise on flavor. And now it's time to go ahead and plate everything up. In my baked potato, I love lots of butter, sour cream, fresh dill, and of course, spring onions. To me, this is the only way to have a baked potato. And voila, it was delicious. Next on the menu is Macedonian Pita. Now this recipe comes from my husband's grandmother. But wait! You have to meet Maya first. Let me introduce you to Maya.
Spun ce faci acum? Că registrez eu. Dar ce faci? Adică...
Pită de spănac, care îți place ție.
Știu, dar adică ce faci chiar acum?
Acum întind prăjită.
Întind prăjită.
foaia de cărghios, de care pun pe tavă. Am întins prima dată foaia, am tăiat pe jumătate coca, 2. Am întins, am uns cu margarină bine, dar uns bine așa cu marmarie, puțin să se moaie. Și am strâns șuvițe, am pus la loc. În căruțe colorate.
So there's Maya, the precious woman who passed this recipe on to me, and one that I now make proudly for her grandson. So what I do first is I get the dough started, and I really enjoy Thomas Keller's pie crust recipe. It uses a lot of butter, all-purpose flour, salt, and ice water, and it makes the most delicious flaky crust. I have gone ahead and doubled this recipe so that I can make 2 very large pie crusts. Once I've made my dough, I place it in the freezer so it doesn't get too soft. and then I get on with making the inside of my pita. I melt some butter in a big stock pot, and I go ahead and add my spinach. Next, I add in a block of feta and several eggs. For me, it just depends on how much spinach I have, but I believe this particular night I added in about 5 eggs. Quite honestly, the more eggs, the tastier it is, in my opinion. But you don't want to go overboard. Then you go ahead and stir your butter, frozen spinach, eggs, and feta. I season with salt. And of course, pepper. And then I add 1 full container of full-fat cottage cheese. This just gives it a really creamy, delicious flavor. While that's cooking, I can go ahead and get my pie crust ready to go. Make sure when you're doing this, you have a countertop that is well floured. I put butter and a little bit of flour so that the pie crust does not stick to my pan. This is a great trick in the kitchen. So as you can see now, I am rolling up my pie crust to make it easy to transfer to my pan. And then I go ahead and start shaping my pie crust. Once I've finished that, then I take my cooled spinach, cheese, and egg mixture, and I add it in to the pan and spread it around. After that, I take my top pie crust and put it on top, and go ahead and start forming your pie crust around the edges. Now is a great time to poke some holes in the top. I just do this because I think it cooks better. And then I add a beautiful egg wash over the top to give the pita that nice crispy golden brown look at the end. Then you place it in the oven at 350 for about 30 to 45 minutes, and voila, you have a beautiful Macedonian pita to enjoy. Next on the menu is leg of lamb, roasted asparagus, and spiced new potatoes. I don't think there is anything more springy than a meal of lamb and asparagus. I just feel like it screams spring, and so I love this particular recipe during this time of year. As you can see, what I am doing is just cleaning off and chopping off the ends of my asparagus to get them ready to be seasoned. Once I've done that, I go ahead and place the ends in my compost bucket. And now I get on seasoning my asparagus. I like to use a variety of a good olive oil, fine sea salt, coarse black pepper, and garlic powder. This is my favorite combination on my asparagus. I bake this at 350 for about 45 minutes until it's nice and roasted. Next are the new potatoes. These little beauties taste so good roasted in the oven with lots of spices and olive oil added to them. So I go ahead and cut them in half because I just find they cook a little bit better that way. And then similar to the asparagus, I like to add a lot of herbs. For these, I'd like to add fresh rosemary, good olive oil, crushed black pepper, and sea salt. I also add fresh garlic. The garlic really helps the taste of the potatoes to just pop. It's so delicious once they're roasted. Now I toss them to coat, and then you will place these in the oven for a similar time frame as the asparagus, about 45 minutes at 350. Next, it's time to get on preparing the leg of lamb. Today I am roasting a boneless leg of lamb. I put a generous dollop of Dijon mustard on the inside with some dried parsley and some fresh rosemary, a generous amount of sea salt and black pepper, and garlic. And then I will go ahead and truss my lamb with butcher's twine. Once the leg of lamb has been sufficiently trussed together, I go ahead and add a generous dollop of Dijon mustard to the outside of my lamb as well and spread evenly. Then I am adding crushed fresh garlic to the top, some dried parsley, some freshly ground black pepper, and some sea salt. And I am also adding some fresh rosemary to the top just for added flavor. It comes out delicious. Now, to the bottom of my baking dish, I am adding just a touch of water on either side of the lamb. This is just so that it doesn't burn on the bottom. And then I go ahead and increase the temperature of the oven to about 375. And this was a 5-pound boneless leg of lamb. It cooked for approximately 80 to 85 minutes. And now I go ahead and plate everything. As you can see when I cut into it here, it is medium rare, and that was the perfect temperature for us. And this was a delicious spring dinner that our family just loved. I hope that you have enjoyed these recipes today, friends, and I do hope that they inspired you to get cooking in your kitchen for your family. What are some menu items that you love for spring? Please feel free to share them in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you in another brand new video very soon. Bye for now.